Hey, what's up guys? It's HoveringBanana, and in today's video we are going to be starting a new series of trading videos which I like to call trading tips. So I've done trading guides in the past, stuff like top 5 scams and how to find the prices of items and stuff like a guide to colors in Rocket League trading. But for trading tips we are going to do shorter videos where we focus on one smaller niche aspect of trading, and hopefully that can also help you with your trading endeavors. Now the first trading tip we're going to start with is one I think is a bit more simple, but that's discussing whether to trade an item for keys or to look for an item overpay. Now while Xbox doesn't have keys, you guys over there use your crates and your heat waves as currency, so I think the concepts in today's video can still apply to you guys. But we're going to start things off with talking about keys, and we'll use an example of the heat wave. On PC, I think it's going for about 15 to 16 keys. So if you, for example, bought the Heatwave for fairly cheap at 15 keys and you decided to sell it for 16, you're making yourself 1 key profit. However, they aren't the greatest returns on that 15 keys you put in. In my nothing to something kind of trading series, you would see me buy stuff like painted septums and painted fire plugs for 1 key, and then I would flip them for 2, which is much better returns, 100% returns on your 1 key investment. So if you bought 15 keys worth of painted septums and painted fire plugs, you could be looking at returns at 30 keys. So that is something to keep in mind when you're trading your item for keys. And that's not to say that, you know, having the Heatwave at 15 and selling it for 16 is a bad idea. Heatwave tends to be a very stable item and quite a safe one that has very high demand. So if you manage to buy it cheap, you usually look at 1 key profit. But you need to keep an eye out for some cheaper items where you could get better returns on your key investment. But where the painted fire plugs and the painted septums kind of fall short, and where the Heatwave shines, is grabbing yourself an item overpay. So since keys are the primary currency, whenever you're not paying in them, you're generally expected to overpay. So for example, why would a person accept, let's say, 15 keys and items for that Heatwave when they can just get 15 pure keys instead fairly easily? Now you'll come across item overpays more often on the more popular items. So your black market decals are very good. The Heatwaves, Hex, Labyrinths, they all see good item overpays. But you'll often come across them as well on your new import cars. Those also have high popularity. And you'll sporadically see them on painted exotics and painted cars and stuff like that. Now an item overpay is of course great because you're getting some easy profit in terms of value, but there are definitely some things to keep in mind when you're looking to accept an item overpay. The first thing is how easy the items are to trade. If you had that heat wave and someone offered you 9 burnt sienna zombies, and let's say you could sell those burnt sienna zombies at 2 keys each, you might have to think a bit if that's a good idea. The burnt sienna zombies are one of the lowest demanded painted exotics, so they're going to take you long to sell. Also, you've got 9 of the exact same item, so if you do come across someone that wants burnt sienna zombies, you got to find that 8 more times. So when you accept an item overpay, you want to try get most of the items to be high or medium demand with a smaller fraction of low demand items. If you do decide to take low demand items, maybe painted toppers and painted uncommon wheels, you should be looking for a heftier item overpay. So let's go back to some more examples to explain these concepts. So let's say you got offered 2 hexed for that Heatwave. Hexed is about 8 to 9 keys and it's a very easy item to trade alongside the Heatwave. So we might only be making 1, maybe 2 keys profit, and that's not a huge amount when we're looking for an overpay, but the hexed are very easy to trade, so I would take that deal. Another thing to keep in mind when you're accepting an item overpay is how many items you've actually got in your inventory. As you get more and more items, they tend to become more difficult to trade. So if I only had a Heatwave in my inventory, it would be very easy for me to put up adverts on my Heatwave looking for offers. And it would be very easy for me to do searches, see what people were offering for a Heatwave. But if I had 90 items, trying to search trades for all those items is going to be tedious. Same thing when posting the advert. So you might not want to take an item overpay then. Instead, you could clean out your inventory, try to make it a bit smaller, and in the meantime accept keys for your items. And a question you might be asking is, how much of an overpay should I be looking for? And there's no exact value to say you should be looking for like 20% more of the item's value or something like that. It purely comes up to you. When you look back to some of those examples I gave you where I got like 2 hexed, those are very easy to trade. So if you get only like a small margin of profit, that's good. And if the items are less popular, you want slightly more overpay. And if they're like very difficult items to trade, where we mentioned the painted toppers, painted uncommon wheels, painted decals, you want to look at bigger overpays when it involves those items. And that also doesn't mean just because you got offered like 30 keys and painted toppers for your heatwave that you should take it, because they're going to take very long to trade and it might not be the best option for you. So that is where I am going to end today's trading tip. Let me know down in the comments if you've got any additional questions about today's trading tip or any suggestions for other trading tips that you would like me to cover. I also want to start another new series of trading videos where I'm going to rate other people's trades. So if you are on PC, link me a picture in the YouTube comments or go onto my Twitter, which I'll link in the description. Send me a picture there telling me to rate your trade. I'm not going to just, use it to show off people making crazy profit. I want to discuss maybe some less favorable trades where the person may have lost out, and also going to show fair trades with some good trades as well. But that is everything for today's video. So as always, thank you for watching and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.